Alright, hello everybody. Started off with some jamming out to the Persona soundtrack. Pretty good starting soundtrack, if I do say myself. Welcome in. I know I started a few minutes early, so it gave everybody a chance to filter in. I see Roydeen in the chat, here as usual. Though, this is the first Cookie Gaming YouTube live stream. Yeah, Roydeen, I feel like I messaged you this in the Discord. You're gonna get the video you want, I think on Tuesdays when it's scheduled for. So, I know you haven't seen it yet, you don't have the evidence, but I think you're gonna be pretty happy with the uploads on the React channel this week. Plus, this isn't a React stream. It's gonna be a bit of a gaming stream, alright? This is both to, if anyone is tuning in who watched the recent Disco Elysium playthrough, we can talk a little bit about that, if that's what chat wants to do, but also to play some Hollow Knight. Classic game. I played Hollow Knight before, to be clear. You know, this is not my first time playing. I think typically, if I'm going to be playing something for the first time, I'd rather do it offline than online, even if I am recording it, but we will be playing some Hollow Knight. Love me some Hollow Knight. So just playing some Hollow Knight, chatting. I know it's been a long time since I've streamed anything on any channel or the Twitch. So, you know, it's been a couple of months. We're now back. Yeah, that's right, Roydeen. You gotta be a real, I don't even know what you call it, History Student Reacts OG to, remember the Roman Emperor tier list streams? God, at this point, must have been quite a while ago. I don't have the date in my mind, but it has been a while on a different channel as well. So that's definitely something. We'll have a couple more minutes of the music going, then we'll jump into some Hollow Knight. Alright. Well, that's true. Not much has happened on the wall. Well, you know, I was off to my master's for a while, and I came back, and the wall still hasn't changed. Hello, and Valentine. Another chatter in here. Welcome to the stream. Our first official Cookie Gaming YouTube stream. Yeah, there were a couple of Twitch streams, but those were a while ago. We're gonna be chatting about Disco Elysium, if anyone wants to chat. Open to the chat messages, of course. I'm playing a little bit of Hollow Knight. Classic game. I mean, not in terms of its age, but in terms of its quality. One of the best Metroidvanias out there. Of course, we've all been waiting for Silksong for years and years. Got the Persona 5 soundtrack in the background. Roydeen, you don't like the salmonella reactions. I'll tell you, first of all, I've reacted to most of his videos, so they're gonna be gone soon. Or they'll be done soon, I should say, but a lot of people like them. And yeah, thank you on finishing Disco Elysium. You finished it up. Last episode came out today. I mean, Disco Elysium, truly an incredible game. You know, one of the best I've played in my lifetime. Truly something different as well. I haven't played anything else like it. I'm not sure there is anything else quite like it. Normal human person, a frequent commenter on the videos. Welcome. I'm not sure there will ever be a game like Disco Elysium. I mean, I know, I don't know too much about it, about the studio and everything like that, because I didn't want to, you know, you don't want to look things up, because I didn't want any spoilers while playing, but I am aware there's a whole drama with the studio dissolving and a bunch of people splitting off, and there's like a million different Disco Elysium spiritual successors. So who knows, maybe one of those will take up the mantle. But I'd be surprised if I ever play something that's quite like Disco Elysium. I feel you, Roydeen. Well, like I said, you've got your Catalonian Plains Flavius Etius videos coming on the History Student React channel soon. Yeah, I think he might have, Roydeen. I think he might have. Wow, that's crazy, Ender Valentine. You know, I mean, I've only played through the game one time, the playthrough I just did. I really want to play through it, making different decisions, different skills, not on camera, just on my own time. But I really got the sense as I was playing that people are getting vastly different experiences depending on what they do. So it's crazy that you didn't hear about the return, because, as you saw, for me, that was such a big part of my playthrough. I was always talking about the return and all that sort of stuff. I mean, sometimes people would comment on the videos like, hey, I didn't see this in my playthrough, first time I've seen this, or wow, something different happened to me. And I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. I mean, shows you the depth of the experience, you know, how many different options there truly were, which is something I think I get, but I haven't truly seen yet for myself. I feel like it'd be pretty hard to be mean to Kim. Maybe I'll try it for the sake of trying it, but, you know, I don't know. Kim, like I said at the playthrough, he's our one true love. Truly our most loyal friend. So it'd be hard to be mean to him. A good question, Roydeen. I mean, for those that don't know, I've had a couple of different YouTube channels over the years. I mean, I was making YouTube videos since I was a kid. I grew up with YouTube, and the old videos they're all privated, so don't try and find them, you can't. But, so I don't know, I've done a bunch of different stuff, Roydeen. And the History Student Reacts channel is the one that have found the most success, but there's been a couple of moments. I feel you, Ender. I mean, I do this with games sometimes where, you know, first run through, I always try and do I make the decisions I would make exactly, whether they're considered good or bad or whatever. Now, they tend to be the good decisions, right? And then in runs afterwards, I'll try and do like a good run, a bad run, whatever. But I sometimes find that when I try to do the evil run, I feel so bad about being mean to the characters. I'm like, man, this is tough. Ha! Almost, Roydeen. I was talking with a friend of mine about this the other day. I never actually made any Minecraft videos, but there are some old privated videos of me back in, you know, the early, mid-2010s when I was a child, doing that style. I did some Happy Wheels videos back in the day, I'll put it that way, when I was a kid. all privated, so, and I'm not showing them to you because they're embarrassing. But yeah, I did that back in the day. Many of us did. And then I basically didn't make any gaming videos for years and years and years until pretty recently. And this, you know, Disco Elysium's sort of been a resurgence with everything. It's Popularis days. Oh, man. I know that YouTube is more strict about the copyright than Twitch is, so well, I gotta be careful with the music I'm playing. Alright, we'll let the song run through, and then after this, we're going to transition to playing some Hollow Knight, but I've already played Hollow Knight, so just be casually playing through, talking with the chat, you know, that sort of thing. But that might be true about the voiceover. Perhaps. But, I don't know. I mean, Disco Elysium's ended up being really popular anyhow. It's become a real cult classic. And for a game as unique as Disco Elysium, I feel like there might have been a ceiling always. Though maybe not. Maybe Baldur's Gate 3 proved that wrong. That there really wasn't a ceiling to success. So I don't know. Maybe if the voiceover was originally part of the game, it would have been more popular. But I feel it's had a pretty good run, you know, having the original than the final cut. Plus, for a game like Disco Elysium, it feels far more natural, as far as I'm concerned, that instead of it being a smash hit initially, it was this growing cult classic over time. That far more fits the vibe of the game, at least as far as I can see. Although, I'm sure the studio would rather have had a massive hit in the beginning. Ah, yeah, that's right, Roy Dean. There's a couple of those old videos still up. And I will say some of those old collection videos did pretty well with the views. I mean, you can imagine me as a young teenager being like, oh my god, this is great. We've come a long way since then, in some ways. In other ways, we're still in exactly the same spot. Alright. Let us play some dang Hollow Knight. Now, I mean, talking about fantastic games. Hollow Knight, that's a real incredible one. That's right, Roy Dean. I've always been active in my comment section. Alright. Let's get... Huh. Do I have a fully formed theory in what the Pale is? It's a good question. That's a little loud. There we go. How's the volume, by the way? Just want to make sure the game audio isn't louder than me speaking. But good question about the Pale. I'm not sure I do have a fully formed theory about the Pale, to be honest with you. You know, one thing that sort of I was a little surprised about with the conversation with the Phasmid at the end was that she, or they, or it, basically insinuated, or downright stated, that it was man-made. right? In which I made the comparison to climate change in the video. Alright. Turn the game audio down a little bit. I made the comparison to climate change in the video. Because I was kind of like, well, that's sort of what it sounds like if you're talking about this, you know, man-made thing, right? And I, you know, got the impression, which I think we were supposed to get before that, that it was sort of this natural, I don't know, eruption of nothingness. But the fact that it may be man-made, it doesn't give me a completed theory of the Pale, but it makes me think a little bit differently about it. Oh, that's right, Roy Dean. Roy Dean advocating for me in the comments. Alright. By the way, I first played this on the PS4, so don't think all I've got is 22 hours into Hollow Knight. I've got a lot more than that. Just, you know, repping my gamer cred. Alright, let's start up a new game. No, just do classic. We don't need to go crazy with it. Audio level's good now, everybody. Great. Uh-oh. Guys? You gotta come see this. I think something bad happened. Huh. I didn't actually put that together. Normal human person, NHP? I gotta shorten it somehow. Yeah, I did not. That's interesting. Huh. Here we are. Okay, here. Do a little bit of balancing because I had to turn my audio way down in OBS. Alright. Let's see if that's a little better. Might be a little loud again. There we go. I think there's a lot of connections to be made between the old deserter, Dross, and Harry. For example, our service in the RCM and the ICM. Different, but in some ways related. Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Malcontent Pole. What a name, by the way. Like I said earlier, I don't know too much about the whole thing, but I know that a lot of the original creators of the game sort of got screwed in the process. Which sort of feels like one of the points the game was perhaps making about the world and the economy and things like that. So yeah, we'll never get a direct Disco Elysium 2. We'll never get the successor that may have been planned. Though we may get a spiritual successor A worthy one? Who knows? We have to wait and see, really. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of successors trying to be made. I think it was interesting. Disco Elysium, it's such a unique combination of things. You know, it's like, I don't know what the genre title would be, but it's sort of like, to me, a like CRPG combined with like a point-and-click adventure game in some ways. And maybe those two aren't so different. I guess you could describe it as a CRPG with essentially no combat, which is very unique, right? And I'm already a big fan of RPGs and CRPGs, you know? And for Disco Elysium to take that and really mold it, basically just add a book's worth of writing in there, which, to be fair, a lot of CRPGs already have. That's right up my alley. I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday, trying to tell him about Disco Elysium, and I was like, look, if you're not ready to read or have read to you basically an entire book's worth of dialogue and descriptions, then it may not be the game for you. But for some of us, that is exactly what we like. That's right, I know all the Hollow Knight secrets. Don't hold me to that, I don't actually. I know some of them, though. So yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier, but I'm not sure if we'll ever see a game quite like Disco Elysium, maybe similar. Yoink. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's pretty... I mean, there are moments when it goes extremely in-depth with the text, but I would argue generally it is pretty readable, and they give it to you in these bite-sized pieces of information, right? So I'd argue that it's far more digestible than it would be if it was actually a book, right? But it is a very particular game. Word count for Disco is 1.2 mil. Lord of the Rings is 0.5. Holy. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, I mean, that's incredible. I guess the difference is that, like I said, when you're playing through Disco Elysium, they're giving you bits at a time, and also you won't see it all on your first time through. Versus Lord of the Rings, you're reading all of that. And of course, Tolkien is pretty... Some would say notorious, but this is something I like about him. He's pretty famous for including these long, drawn-out descriptions of just about everything. You know, you see a twig in the woods, there's about 5 paragraphs about it. I like that, you know. Yeah, it's a subjective thing. Depends on who you're asking. But it gives you incredible world building. And yeah, with Disco, you also have this incredible lore and world building. I mean, one of my favorite parts about the game was the lore. I mean, I'm a history guy, as we sort of know. You know, I have a master's in history. I love reading about real human history. And so, you know, I think that's a pretty easy translation into, you know, fantasy or fictional lore, if it done well. And I think Disco Elysium does it better than almost anybody else. Hello, Elderbug. Yeah, Expedition 33. I haven't played it myself yet, but everyone is raving about it. So it seems like they've really, they've done something with it. Look at that, our old nail. Level 1. We've got the basic movement, none of the upgrades. You know, speak about good game design, Hollow Knight is a game that does the Metroidvania genre so well, where it really builds you up. You know, by the end of this game, you'll have all kinds of abilities and traversal methods, but it really gives you a very It's the word I'm looking for. A very enjoyable pathway to get there. Enjoyable wasn't the word I was looking for, but close enough. Satisfying is more like it. Alright, let's go find our boy Cornifer. Alright, question. Has everybody in chat played Hollow Knight? Or do we have people in here who haven't played it before? I hope Harry will pull through, and I think I have to have faith that Harry will pull through. Essential faith in the human being, that's important to me. So I believe Harry's gonna pull through, and our apparition of Dora, or Dolores Day, she said, it might take us a while, like a while, but we will recover. So I think we will, or Harry will. I gotta stop saying we now, because the Let's Play is over. Faith, huge fan of Hollow Knight. Trying to do the speed run. Well, good luck to you. You know. I mean, I've done the White Palace and everything. You know, I've done some pretty advanced Hollow Knight stuff, but I'm not trying to do a damn speed run. That's tough. We're going for a more casual type of playthrough. Yeah, what am I gonna do? Fight the sun? And then you fight the sun. Yeah. I would say, I mean, Hollow Knight and Disco Elysium are very, very different. As you can see, in the lore of Hollow Knight, it's presented more in the Dark Souls way of storytelling, where essentially you are discovering the story as you go. It's not really given to you, versus Disco Elysium, it just tells it to you, right? So they're told very differently, but I would say Hollow Knight also has some of my favorite lore in the video game world. Very compelling, told in a different way, very different timbre to Disco Elysium. But if you're an enjoyer of fictional lore, then Hollow Knight is definitely a great game for that. I'm not sure we'll get incredibly far into the lore as we're playing. I'm going to be doing a lot of yapping, however. As I do. I mean, you know me. Well, maybe you don't. If you do, I'm a yapper supreme. Can't help myself. Yeah, I think that's true. And Expedition 33, another indie developer, right? I mean, we've gotten to the point in video game development, not that I know anything about the industry, but these big AAA games, they cost so much to make that it causes the developers to be ultra conservative. They don't want to take risks. They don't want to try anything new. And so, you're really only gonna get, for the most part, risk-taking and people trying new things from studios that have a lot less invested, a lot less risk. That is indie studios, indie devs. Oftentimes, 1, 2, 5, 10 people working on a game. Hello, Cornifer. I'm a cartographer by trade. I'm working on mapping this area right now. Would you like to buy a copy of my work so far? I think I would. Heyo. A map can be a useful thing, but it alone won't show you where you are. If you've not the head for directions, I suggest purchasing a compass for my wife, Izelda. She's just now opening our new map shop in Dirtmouth, selling all sorts of useful things to wanderers like yourself. She'll even sell some of my old maps from time to time. I pop back to see her whenever I finish mapping an area. She's always so excited to see me. Huh. Yeah, that's right. Well, with Harry Dubois, you know, the plot of the game is very well suited to finding out about the world Right? I mean, a lot of games use amnesia as a device to help the player explore the world. Right? Well, why is my protagonist asking so much about the world they've lived in? Well, because they've got amnesia. That's the case with Harry. Gives you an opportunity to find out about the world you're living in, versus a silent protag, like a Dark Souls game or a Hollow Knight. You know, there's a lot less of that. And so you're mainly finding out the story through the environment, through snippets of letters and notes and monuments and things like that. I mean, in many ways, how sort of, you know, it's like a historian learning about history through text where you're reading all about it, versus an archaeologist, right? Where you're trying to dig through the ground, looking for any remnants of the history, or in this case, the lore you're trying to discover, right? There's a lot more bits and pieces here. Heyo. Our first grub. If you have played Hollow Knight, we love grubs. If you haven't, that's a grub. We need to find them all. Oh yeah, that's true. I played a little bit of that first South Park RPG. But yeah, I mean, they're taking a lot of the gaming tropes and satirizing them. Where should we go next? Sort of, I'm wandering aimlessly at this point. Come on. Heyo! We are rich. I'm gonna collect my geo first. Hello, Adam. Welcome to the stream. Yoink. I'm rich now. Ah. How about that? A little hot springs. To soothe you. Here, we'll take the bench here. Probably want to make our way back up to Dirtmouth. Or Dirtmouth, if you're English. I will say, back on the Disco Elysium topic, I thought it was interesting. I believe, is the studio that made it, were they Finnish, or am I making that up? I forget where the studio was based. I think I might be right, maybe not. But it's interesting because it's a game whose politics, in many ways, are so influenced by the Soviet Union, but a game that culturally was so influenced by France. Like, incredibly so. There's just a fantastic mix of different inspirations there. Different histories and cultures really come together. I can't reach yet. Yeah, I'm too small. Yeah, man. Ow. Yeah, well, you know, the game, Disco, though it is, like I said, very French culturally influenced, you know, the world you're in, I mean, it has a different history. You know, they say it is the way it is because it's been bombed out by war and the response to the revolution. But it's very reminiscent of a lot of Eastern Europe, former Soviet bloc, in many ways in its aesthetic qualities. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, because obviously there's a lot of parallels drawn to the real world and real history, and of course every idea comes from somewhere, but of course, sometimes, you know, you're dealing with something that is a little more original, and I mean, I always love to draw historical parallels, being a history guy, but of course you don't exactly know what the author, or in this case the developer, was going for, right? So sometimes you're drawing parallels where they may not exist, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, death of the author and all that, such and such. We're all drawing our own interpretations of everything, right? Hey, our first stag station. Greetings, little one. It's been an age since I last heard the ringing of a station bell. It echoed down the stagways and called me to you. I've grown stiff and tired over these many years, and I've forgotten much, but the sound of the bell will always call me back. These stagways stretch the depths of Hallownest. If you want to travel them, hail me from the platform. I will take you where you need to go. Let's go back to Dirtmouth. Dirtmouth. Yeah. Yeah, you've got a lot of the elements of our worlds, but oriented differently. Hello. There we go. Yeah, except for the pail. The pail is entirely unique. Though, like I said, I was surprised, or, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but when the Phasmid said that it may have been human-made, I was like, oh, this is a little bit more like climate change than I expected. I hadn't actually drawn that parallel before. But, so there's some similarity, but the pail isn't, but, you know, I mean, the pail is its own thing, you know? I mean, there's a comparison through what the Phasmid tells you to climate change. There's a comparison with the history of exploration to essentially the Atlantic Ocean in our age of exploration, right? This vast body of water that seemed so impenetrable, but then once crossed led into this whole new age of exploration and exploitation and production and everything. The Pale is many things combined into one, but also a lot less understandable than climate change or an ocean. Stag Station is opened. That's right, Elder Bug. Heard the tales of glorious lines. A web of tunnels running all through the kingdom. Not that I'll be traveling them, mind you. That's fine, Elder Bug. Ah, lyrics. You know, I still, people told me to, after when I did the karaoke scene, and I failed the check. I never actually listened to the, like, good version of the karaoke from Disco Elysium. I'll have to do that at some point. I forgot to do it. Adam, I think I'm gonna develop my sword and use my abilities and stuff. I think I'm going for more of a casual playthrough than a challenge run. Yeah, I like how Disco Elysium handles the passage of time, because, well, what I like is that, I mean, it makes things that would pass time, and then sometimes it can subvert those expectations, right? So sometimes it'll show you something that you wouldn't expect to pass a lot of time, but it does. And you're like, oh, okay, that tells me something. So I think they used the time passing mechanic pretty well. And yeah, stretch moments into minutes. It's got the, like, JoJo Bizarre Adventure thing of when you're in the middle of a scene, you can just talk as much as you want, and not a second passes. And then when you're in the action, then everything starts moving again.
Bapanada.
Bapanada. Give me the quill first. I definitely like watching challenges, but, doing them, maybe sometimes. Not today, though. Yeah, exactly. A single punch is landed, and 12 different skills tell you how to outsmart your opponent. I mean, what I liked, once again, Disco Elysium, they did a great job of setting up the rules, and then subverting those rules, right? Subverting your expectations, which makes for excellent and engaging storytelling. So, like, I mean, of course, there's the moment where you're talking to Klasia, you find out that your skills are fucked up, but even put that aside, there are a lot of moments, and I think early in the game, you're thinking of your skills like regular video game skills, as in, when you succeed on a check, that's a success. But what you find out is that the success is more defined in the eyes of whichever skill is talking. And so, there's a lot of moments throughout the game when you'll have a couple of skills pitch in, and they will contradict each other. And so, at the end of it, you're left to make your own decision, which I like. You know, because it's not telling you what to do. It's not even telling you what the best option is. It's giving you some ideas, some opinions from your thoughts. But in the end, you need to decide what decision you're going to make and what kind of person you're going to be. So I think I really liked that element of Disco Elysium. Good question. I don't know. I mean, when we got to the tribunal and we found out that Klasia had fled, I was like, God damn it, I should have arrested her. I felt that in the moment. But with a little bit more time passing and looking back on it, I'm not sure. I'm kind of thinking that, you know, I don't know. Maybe letting her go was the right thing to do, even though she lied constantly to us. We've only been playing for a little bit, Adam. It's been like half an hour at this point or something. Short one, but a strong look about you. That's right. Quirrell. Lots of mysteries. A great stone egg lying in the corpse of an ancient kingdom. And this egg, is it warm? It certainly gives off a unique air. Can it be opened? There are strange marks all over it. I do so love a mystery. And who knows what other marvels lie even deeper below us. That's right. Yeah, exactly. All the skills are unreliable narrators, and I like that. To me, that's more interesting than the alternative. Yeah, mercy is rarely a complete mistake. That's a good line from Volition. I think that's true, whether it be with Klasia or with Ruby. Right? I mean, with Ruby, I didn't want to... Well, I guess she was threatening to kill herself, but I didn't want her to die on our behalf, you know? So, let her go. It's better off that way. And I mean, that's what really compelled my logic with Klasia as well, was that, I mean, she did so much lying, you can't tell what was real, but it seems that maybe there was a threat that if she was brought in, something really bad would happen to her. I don't know, you know, who knows, but that was enough to deter me. Maybe she was playing us the whole time, you know, but I was like, you know, I don't necessarily want to risk that. Ow. Let me get my grub. I've trapped myself here. Yeah, I am gonna play the game again. Disco again. I won't record it the second time through. But I want to play it again with different skills and make different choices. I want to do a full Motorix, what's physical red playthrough. And I know I think when I started off my character, I went pretty heavily into, I always forget, like psyche. And then a bit into intellect. And throughout the game, it sort of evened out a little bit. Because there were a lot of Motorix and physical-based skills that I was like, oh man, I gotta be ready for these. But I'd definitely like to do one where I go way more heavily into the physical skills. And maybe one where I'm really high intellect. Not saying I'm gonna play through it each of those times, though maybe I would. But I definitely want to see some of the different decisions. You know, I played as a hardcore commie. I'd like to see, like, well, I'm not sure exactly what the other ones are. Moralist, perhaps? Liberal? I think fascist was one. Like a libertarian capitalist or something like that. Like, I thought I mean, there were many times in the playthrough where I came across a bunch of answers. And I thought one was hilarious, but I didn't choose it for one reason or another. All the, like, Grussel, you know, grind set capitalist answers were hilarious to me. So I'd love to play that type of character. I think that'd be pretty funny. Myla? Yeah, that's a good point, because for me, my electrochemistry was low, and I kept it low, because whenever it pitched in, it was just to try to get me to do drugs, or like smoke a cigarette, or be weird. But I imagine if you've leveled it up a bit, it might do some useful stuff as well. I mean, there were definitely skills I came to trust less than others. Like, I mean, of course, Volition was easily the most trusted skill for me. I found Drama to not be trustworthy. The opposite, in fact. Rhetoric oftentimes wasn't very trustworthy either, but sometimes could be. Inland Empire, vague, but usually I found it was pointed in the right direction. When Inland Empire would give me a hunch, I would follow, you know? I mean, and you guys know, Shivers and Esprit de Corps were probably my favorite, because they really connect you to, in the case of Shivers, the city around you, the world in many ways, and Esprit de Corps to your brothers, you know, the cops, right? Your fraternity, essentially. I mean, I said I was thinking of making some type of video essay on Disco Elysium. I'm not going to promise it'll come anytime soon. In fact, it won't. If it even happens, it'll be a long way away. But what made me want to do that is because the game has such complex themes that are so intertwined that I'm still thinking about them after finishing. And by the way, for me, that is the sign of a good piece of media, right? If I read a book or watch a movie and I forget it, or not forget it, but it slips my mind the second I finish watching it. I don't have any further thoughts about it. I mean, that means it's not incredibly deep. Now, maybe it's sort of a fun, you know, experience. But the most enjoyable or the most satisfying pieces of media for me are the ones that'll make me think about them far after I'm finished. I think Disco Elysium will be one of those pieces of media. And so I'm still thinking about, you know, the themes of the game, of, you know, loneliness versus connection, right? Fraternity, being part of an organization, versus being an individual, of connection to the past versus having a new start, right? You know, does Harry need, or did he need to forget everything and start over to move on? Or is it important to have a connection to the past, have a connection to history and the world around you? I mean, there's a lot of really interesting stuff there that I'd still like to think about some more. Oh yeah, Adam, I wanted to get the Wayward Compass, but now we'll head to our first boss. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on Disco Elysium already. I haven't gotten a ton recommended. I've had some, but obviously I ignored them because I didn't want any spoilers. So maybe people have already said the things. I'm sure they've already said the things I'm thinking, but that's never stopped me from saying them. Yeah. Oops. I'm busy reading chat. That's very true about Sri Decor and Shivers. Well, it's funny. I remember, I mean, at this point, it's literally been many months, but I remember when you take your signature skill at the start of the game, I believe, maybe I'm misremembering, I believe I selected Encyclopedia, or I either thought about it or I did select it. I think my reason was that, I'm a history guy. I don't know if I'm a history... I don't do any professional history work, and I don't have a PhD. I've got a master's. You can decide whether to call me a historian or not. We don't need to wade into that debate. But I'm a history guy. I was like, I want to learn about the world. Encyclopedia will help me do that. Well, turns out that actually Shivers was the best skill for that. Also, I know Sunday night is a strange time for a stream, but it was sort of impromptu. You know, last episode of the Disco playthrough, I was sort of like, you know what, let's do a stream where we can talk a bit about it. Yeah, no, that's true, and you know, not to dunk on Encyclopedia, it definitely did give useful information. But just throughout the course of the game, I definitely connected more with Shivers. Meyer, welcome. Oh yeah. Oops, I went the wrong way. Yeah, that's definitely true. I definitely got that impression from the game. Right? A lot of disdain towards Weimar era Sockdems, liberals, that sort of thing. I think, you know, Disco Elysium, I think maybe it says this at one point, or maybe I just saw a meme of this somewhere, but it basically it gives you real political options, and it makes you choose, right? It is not satisfied. I mean, you can play, I imagine, as a centrist. I didn't. But it's sort of like, hey, choose a real opinion, buddy. And yeah, EU critique as well. It's interesting because the Moral Intern, the coalition, it's sort of like a strange combination of the EU, the UN, and like NATO. But there's a lot of EU in there, like a lot of EU. And you're getting like a leftist critique of the EU, Jeremy Corbyn type critique of the EU. Yeah, so I mean, I was picking up on that as I was playing. Shivers is more noir. Yeah. Hey, you know, I feel like I haven't engaged with much noir media, but I was always like, I think I'd like that type of thing. being a cool detective. Yeah, well, I think I said that exact thing during the playthrough, which is, you know, Joyce is so much more pleasant to talk to than Everard is. But both of them have their motives, and I think Joyce's motives are far more destructive in the end. Though, I guess it depends on how you interact with her, you know? And of course, you find out that she is far more of a power player than she was letting on, right? She misleads you in that respect. And Everard, I never really got a great read on Everard. It was always sort of unclear to me to what extent he truly was a warrior for social democracy, the worker, and to what extent he was simply looking out for himself. I don't quite know. But those were definitely interesting characters, where she was so much more pleasant than him. But I stated this, and I had to keep reminding myself, you gotta remember that however these people act, or even are as individuals, they each operate within a system, and that system gives them particular incentives. You gotta remember those incentives. Intellect, psyche, physique, and motoric skills. Drama, suggestion, half-light, and composure have a tone of their own kind of deception. Yeah! No, you're right. That's actually interesting. There's sort of, obviously, each of the skills that are grouped together within intellect or physique or whatever have commonality. But then even sort of laterally across those groupings, there's a lot of some commonality, at least. I mean, I liked how, you know, some of the skills bounced off of each other. Sometimes collaborating, oftentimes, not collaborating, arguing, fighting. That was always amusing, when your thoughts would start fighting each other. Ow. Uh-oh. Don't die. Don't die. Oh, I've got that charm on. Pressing the wrong button. Yeah, that's right. I'll be super strong when I'm about to die. Guys, I'm too cautious. Eesh. Yeah, in the end, talking to Joyce, right? You've got that decision, basically, which is you can tell her what you think she should do. Now, how much influence does that have on her at the end of the day? I don't quite know. Obviously, we never really saw what played out. And in the end, I made the decision to tell her, leave it to Everard. You know, that's not a decision that I'm 100% thrilled about, but given the alternatives, I was like, well, maybe that's the best option. Because I was like, well, I don't give a fuck about the company, you know what I mean? I also don't care about Everard individually. I don't want him to achieve any individual ambition. What I do want is for the workers of the terminal to, well, run things, basically. And is Everard the best path towards that? I don't know. That's the bet I took. Even if he is personally a little repugnant. Alright, we got our first boss fight here, folks. Everyone strap in. Oh. Gotta go up first. Yeah, I did. I mean, I had that talk with Everard, where Everard lays everything out. I still think even then, for me, it was still a little unclear, in the long run, how was it all gonna play out? Like, because it seems to me Everard was a very individually ambitious and slimy person. The question for me was always, would he let that get in the way of what would actually be best for the Union? I can't give a definitive answer on that, though I know what his plans are, right? He's definitely a manipulative guy, maybe you could say a bad guy, but would he have a good impact in the long run? I don't know. I really don't. But maybe we don't have to think about that, because as was very strongly hinted at the end of the game, maybe, in fact, more than hinted, the return is basically coming. I mean, there was that great Spree chord check where it was Captain Price with someone else, and they were talking about what I interpreted to be the coming return. And they were saying basically, hey, we're gonna be on the side of the people, which is rare for the cops, and Harry Dubois, he's our strongest soldier, which I agree with. So, maybe things are bigger than Everard, you know what I mean? Uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Malcontent Pull. That's sort of what I got as well. Oh god. Nice. I mean, there's always a question of how the return will work out, but just with how much it was built up, and I have hope for the city of Revachol, La Revacholière. I believe the city will save itself. So I don't know. I think a return really could be something. I mean, look, the first revolution sort of ended in disaster, but who knows? Not an incredibly long gap. I mean, like a couple of days or a week. Maybe a little less than normal. But I definitely had a lot of speculation about what would happen, and also what role the Phasmid would play. I had all kinds of theories about how the Phasmid was masterminding everything, which I now don't think was the case. But I was really putting things together in my head. Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. Well, that's almost like, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything. But, if anyone's seen Attack on Titan, the, like, end credits scene, makes me think of that a little bit, but I don't want to, I've maybe said too much already. Oh, here we go. Vengeful Spirit time. Or is that the upgraded one? Guess we'll see. There we go. I gotta go find the Gruzmother at some point. Give it to me. Okay, we're all powerful now. Vengeful Spirit. There you go. Not necessarily a continuation of Disco. Written in 2013. Oh, that's interesting. Not after. Well, yeah, I think it's sort of like the game itself, that's what's canon. And then, you know, there's everything else which you can take or leave, essentially. Alright, Adam. Well, I hope you get to sleep. I don't know if I'm the most, soothing presence in the world. Oh, well, there you go. definitely loud, but, you know. Oh, man. Yeah. Just thinking about Disco Elysium, getting depressed because there won't be an official sequel. Yeah, I feel ya. But, I mean, that's why. I mean, I think that's why people search out things like Let's Plays. I mean, there are many games that, I mean, Hollow Knight's a good example, actually, where you play through a game like Hollow Knight, and then there's nothing else. Silksong will apparently finally come out this year, but we've been waiting for years, so in the meantime, a whole community springs up, and you watch lore videos, and you watch people playing through Hollow Knight. I mean, I've watched a lot of people playing Hollow Knight, just to be like, ooh, let me get someone else's experience, while you're just waiting. So, yeah, I'm glad that for some people I could do that for them with Disco Elysium, especially because, unlike Hollow Knight, where it seems like we finally will get something more, with Disco Elysium, that's it. That's all you're getting. Yeah, that's exactly right, Meyer. I mean, I've done that with many games myself. Because you've had the experience. You're like, well, I went through it. There's nothing else. I need to live vicariously through a YouTube Let's Player. You know, that's. I think that's part of the appeal. So then you gotta. You know, you gotta. Sometimes you don't always align with everyone you watch, which is fine. I don't need them to make all the decisions I would make, but, you know, there's certain prerequisites, I would say. Soul Catcher. Yeah, a taste of the novelty. How new it is to someone else. Whereas you are well familiar. I mean, now I'm pretty familiar with Disco Elysium after finishing it, but, I mean, there's still some things, like the stuff I didn't see in my first playthrough that I don't know anything about. So I think there are still surprises in store for me down the line. Whereas I'm sure some of you guys have played through it or watched people playing through it, I don't know, I'd say many, many times. You've probably seen just about everything the game has to cover. Though I will say, I mean, I had a fair number of comments throughout my playthrough from people who would be like, you know, I've played this game 1,000,000 times, and I never saw this before. So that tells me that there's a lot to see. Yeah, you know, I guess, you know what? I guess there is sort of a JoJo connection. Even when I said it, I wasn't really making that connection, but I suppose so. That'll be my video essay. Comparing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Disco Elysium. It's gonna make no sense. Harry Dubois, in many ways, it's just like Jotaro Kujo. Everyone's like, sorry, what? Brother, this is unintelligible. Gotta remember where the hell I'm going here. Yeah, conceptualization popping off for about 4 hours. Yeah, that's me putting all my points into conceptualization. Yeah, though, I don't know, Meyer. I feel like people are really trending towards replayable games these days. I mean, given that, like, Baldur's Gate was one of the biggest hits of the last few years, I think people love... And I see what you're saying, which is game devs, they want you to see everything they've made, but I think players, really like when there are a lot of options. You can play through multiple times, and, I mean, I played Baldur's Gate through a bunch of times, because you want to make different decisions and play different classes and all that sort of stuff. Similar to Disco Elysium. Oh, damn it. Easiest boss battle in the game? I think so. Maybe the Mossy, whatever it's called. Alright, come on everybody. Well, also, yeah, a good community aspect keeps games alive as well. Like, I feel like I was listening to someone say this the other day. I don't remember who, but, you know, it used to be back in the day. Before my time, to be clear. I'm not that old. But, you know, I'm talking like pre-internet or mostly pre-internet, where you'd play through a game. Maybe there'd be like a Nintendo Power article about it, but that'd kind of be it. And especially as time progressed, we have Sly, by the way, you know, sort of the fandom would fade away. But now, with the internet, we're in this era where a lot of people, they're not necessarily playing the fresh new game that they saw in whatever magazine they're being sent. Communities form around particular games, and people just obsess over them for years and years and years, and the fandom never fades. Or sometimes it does, but it doesn't have to, right? It's a different thing we have going on. And talking about fandom not fading, I mean, Disco Elysium's a great example of that. A game that, in the past, might have been a cult classic, but would not have had near the amount of attention that it does in the internet era. Yep, yeah, no Googling for a walkthrough. Literally back in the day, you have to buy a book for a walkthrough. Or, I mean, I was a kid back in those days, you just like ask your dad, Dad, I'm stuck, can you help me? And see if he can figure it out. Need our tram pass. Heyo. Not you again. I will say, just thinking about highlights from Disco, now that it's all over. I mean, there are a couple of moments. Obviously, everything with Klaasje is incredible, and the moment where you find out that you're being lied to and your thoughts can't detect it. But dude, the Mercenary Tribunal, that was so good. Just, that was an extremely tense interaction, like extremely tense. I was quite afraid the whole time that, well, I was like, who's gonna die here? I mean, I have no idea. Myself? Any of the Hardy Boys? Gart? Kim? I mean, that was high intensity. And, you know, Disco Elysium is a game mostly without combat. I guess there's not really combat mechanics, but never has rolling dice been so stressful. Well, I mean, I played a lot of D&D, so actually rolling dice sometimes has been that stressful, but that's about as stressful as it gets. Whether you're rolling dice with your friends, or you are in the tribunal just clicking one of these checks. That was stressful, man. I was like, holy moly. What's gonna happen? Hashtag compromised. Yeah. Alright, we'll go back up to Dirtmouth. And then we'll make our way to Green Path next, since we have Vengeful Spirit. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I mean, look, I think I am, like, and by the way, before I played Disco Elysium, I was sure I'd probably like it, given the type of games I like, and my general political, historical leanings, interests. I was like, okay, I'm probably going to enjoy this. But truly, I'm like, this game is, and I'm sure many of you feel this way, like, this game was made for me. Because it's not that, I mean, I love combat in games, right? I like all kinds of different games, don't get me wrong. But for me, I think of, say, like, playing D&D, for example. I'm a big TTRPG guy. Whenever I'm playing D&D, like I said, combat's fun. But for me, the best part is always the role-playing. You know, talking with people, rolling dice, role-playing, that sort of thing. I mean, that's always the most fun part of it. Exploring, finding things out, discovering lore, the world. And, like, that's what Disco Elysium is. They just took all of that and made a whole game out of it. Big egg in there. Alright, we got a good chunk of change right now. Gonna see. We've got a couple of markers to buy, and then maybe some stuff from Sly as well.
Bapanada.
Yeah, bapanada to you too. How much do I want to spend here? Yeah, I think you're right. Disco is definitely a game that requires multiple playthroughs, which I will give it, because you're exactly right. The first one through, I was saying this earlier, I think a lot of us, how we play, when we play RPGs, first time through, you basically make the decisions that you think are best, decisions that you would make, which I guess it depends on who you are, but for me often end up being the good ones. Or I guess the morally good ones. Although Disco Elysium's a bit more complex than that. Most games have a simple good bad. Anyway, I think for a lot of us it's sorry cop, straight and narrow, because you feel bad about all the things you're fucking up. Although I played Harry as a bit of a spiritualist. that part I liked. Very psyche heavy. A hardcore communist as well. But I was also pretty apologetic. Versus, and I was saying this earlier, second way through, I'm gonna go for a crazed, motorix, libertarian, capitalist, drug-taking, I mean, I'm gonna go crazy. Maybe not crazy, but, you know, I'm definitely gonna do a different second playthrough. You want us to let Kim die in the tribunal? It seems almost sacrosanct. That he must live. But I'd like to see the different options. So, but I can't imagine. Wow, him dying? That's crazy. I can't imagine playing the rest of the game without Kim. That'd be such a different ending of the game. It really would. Like, incredibly different. I mean, Kim is what grounds you in every scene. So to do it without him, that'd be... I almost can't even imagine it. A new guy replaces him. What the hell? Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity, I'll tell you that much. Though it'll be painful for me to let that happen. But I'm pretty pleased with, no, I'm very pleased with the first playthrough, you know? Like, obviously, there's a bunch of things I want to do differently, just to see them, but, like I said, I said this during the playthrough, because people, I mean, everyone was very nice, very positive comments. People sometimes had different opinions, which is totally fine. I like that. I like people having different things to say. And they're like, well, you could have done this or that, and I'm like, you might be right, but in the moment, I just did what I thought was best with the information I had in front of me, right? So sometimes I didn't have all the information, so I was just making the best calls I could. I'm pretty pleased with how it all went, but I'd definitely like to do it again with different stuff. They always get you. I can't wait until I get some more movement options in Hollow Knight here. Okay, well, yeah, that's... people said this in the Tribunal episodes. Maybe you said this. That it basically went as good as it could have. Which I was like, that's nice. Because even the best case scenario, people still die. Which is it's a real shame. But apparently it could have been a lot worse. Ethan, contemplating life after disco. That's right. Hey, Light. We've got our first stream in a while. That's exactly right. I mean, I think as you know, Disco Elysium is a truly one-of-a-kind game. You know what I mean? There's really not much, if anything else, like it out there. And I was saying just before you showed up that, you know, it's the kind of game that, and I think, for me, this is my favorite kind of media, that I'm going to be thinking about a long time after I've finished it, you know? I've still got a lot of thoughts about it. Oh yeah, definitely a head spinner. Especially when it came to the pale and the, like, supernatural, or maybe not supernatural aspects of the game. I mean, you could see in the Let's Play, there were several moments when I literally, like, just could not quite understand what I was interpreting. I was like, what is happening here? That's a good sign, right? That, you know, truly head-spinning at moments. Alright, we need our map. Yeah, Derek, our malcontent poll was just talking about that in chat earlier. I haven't read it, and I don't know much about it, but he mentioned it. So I love, like, playing Hollow Knight and exclusively talking about Disco Elysium. I mean, to be fair, like, you know. Oh, there we have her. Our next protagonist. The protagonist of the upcoming Silk Song. But I like playing Hollow Knight and then not talking about it. But, you know, you can't really yap like this and play Disco Elysium. It's sort of a game that requires full attention, you know what I mean? Plus, I'm not gonna be miscellaneously playing anyway. Well, in terms of what I'm planning on playing, honestly, well, you know, I didn't know when Disco Elysium was gonna end. Like, obviously, I could sense that we were getting towards an ending, but when I started last episode, I didn't know it was gonna be the last episode, so I kind of thought I'd maybe have another week or two to figure something out. Not that I'm on any sort of schedule, apart from a self-imposed one. So I've got a couple of options for what I want to play after Disco Elysium. I mean, there were a bunch of recommendations in the comments. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm thinking about it. I haven't made up my mind, though. I said in that last episode that I maybe want to do something a little shorter now, just because you know, Disco Elysium was a long one. I don't mind doing long games. I like long games. Like, down the road, I definitely want to do Morrowind at some point. I want to do Vampire the Masquerade. I wanted to play that for a long time. I mean, there's a lot of these longer games that I'd like to do. But in the immediate, maybe something a tad shorter. Nine Souls. I've heard of Nine Souls. People seem to like it quite a lot. And as you can tell, I'm definitely a Hollow Knight enjoyer. Yeah, whoa, Skyrim! Interesting! Never heard of it. Oh, Fear and Hunger. You know, I'm afraid of Fear and Hunger, man. I haven't played it. I have watched a fair amount of people playing it, though, I will say. So it wouldn't be entirely blind, though I'm not sure it has to be. That game is, that's intimidating. Or it seems intimidating to me, at least. I had someone... I think Normal Human Person, you left some recs. Might have been you, though I can't remember who suggested what. Suggested Papers, Please, which I haven't played before. I was like, oh yeah, that seems kind of interesting. Someone suggested, what was it, a game called Pentiment or something, which looked really interesting. I mean, there were some good suggestions in the comments. Hello, Cornifer. I'll take my map. I am sort of that, like... I mean, this is what you get when you experience something really great, like a great game, or a great book. I've had this many times with books, where you finish something incredible, and you're sort of left with just this void. You're like, wow, what do I do now? That's what Disco's left me with. I felt similar after playing Baldur's Gate 3, honestly. I was like, wow, this is just like the best game. What do I do now? But you know, you find stuff over time. Huh. Yeah, all the different versions of Skyrim. Of course, we recently had Oblivion Remastered, talking about Bethesda, which I have already played all the way through in its entirety. Got all the achievements, every quest line. That was a nice throwback to the old Oblivion days. Yeah, for a true Skyrim Let's Play, you have to play through every version of the game, separately and fully. That would be a nightmare. No offense, Skyrim. I already did a pretty lengthy series on Skyrim. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I know. I can't wait to finish Thing. Thing finished. Oh, I finished it. That's good. I always like, it's like me when reaping. Yeah! Me when sowing. Oh no. Me when doing the thing. This is great. Me when finished thing. Oh, what? This sucks. I actually finished it. God damn it. Getting distracted by chat. Suzerain. Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one before. Is it a strategy game? I gotta be honest, I know I've said this before. My Discord, the history Discord, is always trying to get me to play strategy games. Because every history nerd loves strategy games. I've just never been super into strategy games, I have to say. I've always been more of a, like, role-playing type enjoyer, RPG. But that's not to say I'd never enjoy strategy. I don't want to say that. Ow. Getting whooped. Oh, interesting. Interactive visual novel type. I'm gonna write that down. Wait, 9 souls. 9 souls. Suzerain. Alright. I always enjoy recommendations. Alright. Ah. Uh-oh. I've also wanted to play some of these more classic RPGs for a while. Like your Fallout 1s and 2s, things like that. But I don't know if, yeah, that's a little different than playing some of these newer games. I don't know if I get to that anytime soon. Because there's a difference between, I'd say, modern RPGs that harken back to that era, and RPGs actually from that era. There are some quality of life features missing a little bit. But, you know, I'm fine with that. And I'll say, in my, like, personal time, off camera, recently, I mean, I played through all of Oblivion, like I said, but what I have been playing generally is I played, after finishing up Baldur's Gate many times, I played through Divinity Original Sin 1, now I'm going through Divinity Original Sin 2. 1, it's aged quite a lot, to be honest with you. 2, less so. And I had a great time with 1. I very much enjoyed it. The combat's really pretty impressive. Of course, it's different from Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate is D&D 5e. But I'm playing through Divinity 2 right now, really enjoying it. It's very good. Heaven's Vault. Chants of Sonar. I haven't heard either of these. Eurojank light adventure puzzle game. Alright, alright. Heaven's Vault. Oh yeah. Well, I'm not super far into Divinity 2 yet, but I've played a good, I mean, it's a long game, so actually I've played very little, but, you know, more than 10 hours, I'll put it that way, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Combat's really good. I mean, it's like Divinity 1, but upgraded. And then the other elements are improved from Divinity 1. In some ways, it's more like Baldur's Gate. So yeah, it's very good. Although the like, Origins characters, I know I'm using Baldur's Gate 3 language, sort of threw me off. Because in Baldur's Gate, you've got all your Origin characters, but you're always, I mean, almost always going to play as a custom character. Like, that's the common choice. But in Divinity 2, my understanding is that you are sort of supposed to play as one of the pre-made Origins characters. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because it sort of, like, plays in with the story more. I guess you could do whatever you wanted in reality. I mean, you have the option. Ah! Oh, really? Wait, which character does the narrator voice? I didn't pick up on that. Trying not to get lost. I played this game a lot, but I'm running on muscle memory here. I don't have a, like, actual map in my head. I'm going. Okay, interesting. Yeah, well, I sort of need to get back to Divinity, because Oblivion really took my attention away. I'm playing as Lohse in Divinity, which is sort of... seems similar to me like a Dark Urge playthrough of BG3. Oh my goodness. Just press the button, Ethan. I like the equivalent, the like gamer equivalent of put the fries in the bag. Just press the button, bro. Come on, just press the button. Yeah, but I was like, okay, this is just like Dark Urge. Oh, I missed a bench. There we go. I will say, on the topic of disco again, like I said in the last video, I do want to make, along with perhaps a video essay of sorts, a supercut of the episodes, but like, that's actually going to take me a while, because that was a long-ass series. It was 33 episodes, each of which was more than an hour, many of which were closer to 2 hours, so that's a lot of video for me to sort through. So that will actually take a while of compiling and editing and shit. But I think it'll be fun. Yeah, disco video essay entirely on Measurehead's racial theory. 3.5 hours long. Everyone's like, this isn't really what we thought you meant, Ethan, when you said you're making a video essay, okay? Don't think I can get through here right now. Because you can't pogo on these. Because of communism. Or something like that. Yeah, that would be a pretty hard turn in the type of content I was making. I have become Measurehead, just not buff. So, that's just the racist lorry driver, basically. Racist lorry drivers should be forgettable, but alas. Well, there was... I mean, this was just funny for me. I don't think this is like a legitimate criticism. But there were a few times in the game where the name of the character or the title they were given would give something away. Now, it wasn't... The racist lorry driver is the one I'm thinking of at the moment. There were a few of these moments. It was never, like, too terrible. But I was kind of like, okay, you've sort of given away the game a little bit, you know? And I understand that with the welcome to Revachol, like, the second after he says it, you get this whole explanation of what it means, basically, from Kim. So it's not like it was, like, a secret, but I knew he was racist before he said a word, because he was labeled racist lorry driver. You know, I was like, okay, you could have hidden it a little bit, maybe. Right, yeah. Actually, Gary might be a better example. Because you're like, Gary, okay, so I know this guy's a crypto-fascist from the moment I talked to him. I maybe would rather it was revealed to me, through his words and actions, right? Because I'm like, well, I know, okay, I know your deal. Yeah, I mean, I get that, Meyer. But I feel like... Well, I guess it's... I mean, I was gonna say I think it's pretty clear what these people are. But that does depend on the player, you know what I mean? Sometimes what is obvious to some is ambiguous to others. Like, I pretty would have been, I think it would have been quite easy for me to pick up on the crypto-fascism of Gary. He had a bad vibe from the beginning, even without the title. But I guess for some people, maybe not. I see what you're saying. I guess why I said it's not necessarily a criticism. It was just sort of funny for me, because I was like, oh, okay, you're giving it up instantly. Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, yeah, crypto-fascist now might mean something a little different in the popular lexicon than it did a couple of years ago. It's more relevant in more ways than one, both in that there are more crypto-fascists, and also we've literally got cryptocurrency fascists. Yeah, Meyer, I'd prefer that. So I'd probably prefer that if they evolved over time, because like most of the time it was fine, but there was just a few cases where I was like, okay, like if it went from just lorry driver to then racist lorry driver, I'd be fine with that. I will say, one of my favorite moments, it's such a stupid moment, but one of my favorite moments is when you hear that sound with Gary, and I think it's a composure check, and if you fail it, you're trying to figure out, what is that sound? One of the options is, hey Gary, are you sporting some anal beads? That was one of my favorite moments in the game. That was so funny. Or, I mean, maybe this just shows my sense of humor, but when you're getting the blue medicinal spirit and your horrendous necktie, rest in peace, it says, this isn't for drinking, and then I forget what thought says it, maybe electrochemistry, but both it and me immediately went, what the hell are you doing with that? Where's it going? And then the tie was like, that's not what I meant, you fucking sickos, that's not what I meant. How does Kim know? How does Kim know? I always thought that the character portraits in Disco Elysium are so good. Kim has literally got a halo in his character portrait. That's how heroic he is. I mean, the art's incredible. One that's, I mean, a lot of the character portraits are amazing. I always like the smoker on the balcony. I don't think we found out his name. That was a great character portrait. Really matched the vibe of the character. There was really, really good, you know, because it's more than what I really liked about it is that it often was not a literal interpretation of the person. They were really giving you something to interpret, right? As with all of the art. I like that. Huh. Yeah, it's right, light. Yeah, Titus being authority. Kim composure. Yeah. Ooh. Where the hell are we? I mean, I will say, in terms of character evolution, most improved was definitely Titus and the Hardy Boys. And I think, I mean, that's clearly intentional by the developers, but when you first meet those guys, I think a lot of us, at least I'll speak for myself, I was like, these guys are trouble. And they are trouble. I was not a fan. But then, as you sort of get to know them and talk with them and pry information out of them, you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe these guys aren't so bad after all. I mean, look, I'm sure they've done some bad things. I'm not saying they were necessarily fantastic guys, but I do truly believe they felt a duty to their city, their district, and they felt like they were dealing out justice in a way that they could. You really formed sort of a working partnership with Titus over the course. Definitely a most improved award for him. I mean, yeah, he was great. And yeah, I love how subjective all the skills were, and not only subjective to themselves, but also subjective to and shaped by Harry's experience. Like, something that we noticed throughout the game is that Harry basically falls apart whenever he's talking to attractive women, especially if they have some resemblance, I think, to Dora. I mean, Classier is the best example, but not the only time. So he, like... And that was depicted through his thoughts. Yeah, there were moments when I was like, Harry, fucking get it together. But he was gone. He couldn't pull it together. And you're like, okay. I'll save you, Zote. Though you don't deserve it. Come on. I will say, Meyer, you have picked out one of my favorite scenes as well, which is Harry's call to the station. That first call. When you call the station, you have everything. And then, I think it's Esprit de Corps will give you basically a vision of the station, of them reacting to your call. And Judith steps in. That was one of my favorite moments of the game. I thought a really powerful moment as well. That was one of my favorite scenes from the game, absolutely. I'm like, if I am going to make a video essay of sorts, I'm going to talk about that scene extensively. I really loved that scene. Because I felt like it really tied in with a lot of the themes of connection versus loneliness, of fraternity versus individuality, and all this sort of stuff. Harry's life, his issues, the people around him. I loved it. I mean, I imagine normal human person, NHP, that's probably a common answer for a good reason. Not denigrating the answer. I mean, that is truly an incredible moment. Truly an incredible moment. I mean, the whole mercenary tribunal, a murder tribunal as well, the whole Merc tribunal, that whole scene was top tier, incredible. As good as it gets, really. All the conversations with Joyce, those were really something. Bizarre church disco party, yeah. That was a good one. But yeah, I mean, yeah, giving Kim the gun, and then the Kim trusts you, and Kim really trusts you, or truly trusts you, or whatever it is. That was great. That was powerful. That made you feel like, okay. Because, I mean, Kim is he grounds you throughout the entire game. He's your grounding element. And in that moment, you find out that, I mean, you're not grounding Kim, but that he trusts you. He really does. And then at the end, you get to ask Kim to come work at your station, which I was very happy about. You know, I mean, we'll never get to see that. And we'll never get the Classier spin-off game, if that was ever gonna happen, but, you know, we can dream, or just imagine in our heads. But I mean, yeah, there was a lot of incredible scenes in the game. It's hard to even narrow down to a few. You know, even one. Okay, I'm running around in circles now. Also, I don't know why I thought of this right now. And this wasn't one of my favorite moments, but, and I don't think, I never said this to him, but throughout the game, it gives you the option many times to call Kim a binoclard, which, I mean, you know, I'm wearing these myself, so I'm not gonna take that option, and I think there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. But I thought that was funny. Like, I've never heard that used as an insult before. Like, you binoclard. I was like, what? Not even like, I guess the sort of a English language, or I know that is English, but the like American equivalent is four eyes, right? You see in like an old 80s movie, you know, hey, four eyes, but binoclard. Like, that's so weird. I've managed to get myself a little bit low. Oh! There we go. Ah! Ah! Motherfucker. No deaths yet, by the way. Yeah, motor carriage instead of car. Well, I mean, that's something I like about it. I mean, it makes it feel like that, plus all the French words from the French influence. I mean, it makes it feel like you're in a different world, which I think is part of the idea. Communard. French, though I think we use that in English too. Or maybe I do. Yeah. But I mean, I like that sort of thing in the game. I mean, it adds charm, it adds flavor to the text. Those are all very good things. Harry, Harry, Harry. Yeah, Everard Clare, man. Harry Dubois. That guy was a real character. And the voice, by the way, I mean, the voices were great. I know that the original did not have voice acting. The voices were so good. Were really, really added to it. I mean, Kim, perfect. Everard, such a slimy, annoying voice. Yeah, and how long... That's a crazy thing as well. How long the game keeps your name from you. I mean, that's pretty exceptional, right? What other game... Don't give me an example. Maybe there is an example. I don't know of it. What other game do you not know what your name is? That's crazy. It doesn't tell you your name until so long into the game. It's actually quite insane. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Kate. The voices... I imagine they add a lot. I mean, I haven't played it without the voices, but like I was saying, they're incredible. I mean, they really... And the music, I mean, the music was incredible. The music did a great job of really bringing out the emotion in every scene. Can't top Skyrim where your name is Prisoner. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having a defined protagonist, is that you can actually give them a name. And funnily enough, Disco Elysium doesn't give you your name, like we said, for a good chunk of the game. But I love like RPGs where your character is open or somewhat open, having to try and just find out what to call you, what like label or title they can call you that doesn't seem too weird. Like with Skyrim, mostly goes with Dragonborn after a certain point. Ah! Okay, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine without the voices, it's like reading a damn book. We can only hope Disco Elysium gets a worthy sequel. And talking about a worthy sequel, or a spiritual sequel, here we've got Hornet, who will be the protagonist of the sequel to Hollow Knight when it finally comes out. Whoa. This old kingdom, a terrible thing awakens. I can smell it in the air. I know what you are. I know what you try to do. I can't allow it. Garama! Hey, relax! Hornet, chill out! Well, she won't be in Hollow Knight too. JK, she will be, actually. Adidas! Don't shaw me. Don't shaw me! There we go. Yoink. Oh, wow, you're having a bad time. Oh, whoops, Daisy. Oh, come on. I'm playing the game of, well, playing the game of Hollow Knight, but also the game of how much can I read chat and still focus. Right now, it's 0% reading chat, 100% playing the game. But, you know, Hornet's a little dangerous. Uh-oh, I tried to read chat. Alright. Oh yeah, there are very high expectations for Silksong. You know, for me, I tend to try not to get my hopes up for games, because that's a recipe for disappointment, in my opinion. So I try to keep things on the level. So I'm always a wait and see kind of guy. You know, we'll wait till the game comes out, see if people like it. I suspect it'll be good, but you know, I'm not gonna bet on it, because that's how you get disappointed, right? Bye-bye. Kim Kitsuragi, based on what? Everard Claire, apartment complex? Really? I find it quite simple. Finally, our dash, by the way. Harry, Logic, you're telling me a shrimp fried this rice? I've already seen a bunch of Disco memes. I mean, I tried to steer clear of most Disco Elysium content to avoid spoilers, but I've seen some of the memes and stuff, and they're pretty good. Yeah, well, Jesus may resurrect once again. He may return before we have GTA 6. No, I think, or did they? I don't know. When's GTA 6 meant to come out? I was never, to be honest, a massive GTA 5 kind of guy. Plus, I don't think I have the hardware to run GTA 6. I mean, I'm using a laptop. It works well enough for, like, Hollow Knight or Disco Elysium, but GTA 6, I think it would combust. And I've got a PS4, I don't got a PS5, so, yeah, I don't know if I'll even be able to play it unless I get some better hardware. So, I imagine it's going to be pretty high spec requirements. May of next year. Yeah. No, you have a good point. It probably will get delayed again. I mean, it's a massive, massive project. Crowdfund for me to get a good PC so I can play GTA 6. Well, what a Kickstarter that would be. Or, whatever people use to rate. GoFundMe, that's what it is. Guys, I'm in such a bad spot. I can't even play GTA 6. Oh, man. Yeah, I believe we... Oh, pressing the wrong button. I believe we have to go downwards now to the Mantis Lords. Oh. Interesting. I won't bother our fellow over here. Yeah, that's exactly right. We gotta remortgage my house to finance the goddamn particle accelerator for GTA 6. Yeah, I guess we'll see. You know, because a lot of big budget anticipated games, I think, have been kind of hard to run for people recently. Since, like, Cyberpunk. I mean, Cyberpunk had a lot of issues, but I wonder if GTA 6 will be the same way. I think it might be. Where a lot of people are like, hey, I can't really run this game. Oh, I'm sure it'll be optimized for the consoles, probably. But maybe not for PC. Oh, here we go. Sell a kidney and some bone marrow. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. You don't need them anyway. You've got another kidney. Bone marrow? You've got plenty of that. Hello, stag. You always gotta talk to the stag whenever you unlock a new stag station. Okay, I gotta go down somewhere. Oh. Clinical drug trial for Ethan. Well, that's how you know you're desperate. When you're taking the, like, $15 to do clinical drug trials, or whatever it is. Hey. Oh. We've already went through this way. I'm not sure. I'm dead. Yeah, no. I need the crystal dash for that. Okay. Huh. Well, yeah, you're probably doing enough damage to yourself with the processed foods. You're exactly right. And they don't even pay you to eat those. Well, don't worry, folks. Our new health secretary will sort it out, he said with all sarcasm. Aha! This is where I need to go. Ah! Fuck! Okay, come on. Oh, God. I always found the platforming the hardest part. Maybe it's my lack of skill. Oh, man, this is gonna be hard. Hey, yo! There we go. Okay, this was not a necessary side quest, but I did it anyway, that's fine. Alright. I think we gotta go all the way back across. Yeah, we do actually. We have to basically get back to the... not the entrance, but far to the right of where we are right now. Whoop! Hello. Hello. Perfect. Oh man, yeah, our first stream in a while, folks. I mean, last one, maybe Light remembers. It was months ago, like a couple of months, and it was on Twitch as well. And then before we did maybe like 2 Twitch streams or something like that. Before that, it had been an even longer time before streams. We've got a return to form here. I don't know if we'll be doing them more often. I was relatively busy at work recently. I was a little less busy this last week or so, which is why I'm streaming right now. Okay, we're gonna need the Lumafly lantern to get in there. God damn it. I am my own worst enemy. Ethan Dark Ages, 24 to 25. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it was sort of the era... I mean, look, in many ways, going to get my master's degree sort of put a bit of a halt in the YouTube content, which I think is pretty reasonable, you know? I was literally more busy than I have ever been in my entire lifetime. It's not even close. The amount of work in reading and writing and research, it was insane. So, yeah, we didn't have quite the amount of time to devote to YouTube. The era of big government, yeah. And then, you know, work is off and on, sometimes busier than others. But, you know, we've had more, especially since I was back from my MA, a lot more content. The YouTube has returned in many ways. Ouch. Come on. Come on. Ow. I can't... If I die to this guy, this is truly embarrassing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nope. I have no soul left. Known as one of the easiest bosses in the game. There we go. Free to argue about Diderot and Descartes again. Yeah, I mean, I know a little less about Descartes, but Diderot, I can certainly argue about Diderot and Voltaire and Kant and Rousseau and all those guys. All those Enlightenment type fellas. When I did that recent React video about Voltaire's Candide, so I always like to get an opportunity to talk about that sort of thing. Huh. Documenting the history of games. Floppy disks like fossils. In many ways, I think like real physical books will become endangered artifacts sometime soon. No one's gonna be using them. One, because people don't read books anymore, and two, because they just read everything online. No need for a paperback. Well, that's true. Our nuclear systems are pretty outdated. Well, I mean, part of... I forget what it is, but our, like, Social Security runs on one of these old programming languages. And one of Elon's brilliant ideas was to get us on a newer programming language. But as it turns out, when you've been on the same language, I think it's Cobra, for decades and decades, when you try to change it, that causes a lot of issues. Now, some would say the issues are intentional, part of the process of Doge. Either way, a lot harder than you think to switch off of these old programming languages and floppy disks and all this sort of thing. I have so much money right now. I really do not want to die. We gotta go back to Dirtmouth, or Dirtmouth, as the English say, sometime soon. I don't know if they actually say that, but, you know. Feels like they would. Yeah, it's almost like the government, you know, public services function differently, and should function differently from private businesses, but, some people don't agree with that. Whoop. Uh-oh. Where do I go? Oh, okay. Okay, back in here. Ouch. Come on. Let's not mess this up. Oh yeah, this is where we need to go. Well, right. Oh yeah. Those ISPs, your internet service providers. There's a lot there. I mean, we had the whole net neutrality thing, which was, you know, I mean, all these airwaves, oh, well, not literal airwaves, but the internet airwaves that, in like the 90s and early 2000s, people thought were so free. That was kind of the thing. Oh, they're free and open and anyone can do what they want. Well, that's no longer the case. If it was ever really the case. I mean, you could argue about that, I suppose. Probably not. But it's less free than ever. Especially where, I mean, not even in the sense of just direct control, but, you know, we've passed by the era of individual websites and forums and stuff like that. Now everybody just goes to the same, like, 4 websites to do everything. You know, YouTube, mainly YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, you know, whatever. Everything's done on those. They've got economies of scale going. That's exactly right, Quirrell. Good to see you again. Not you, you freak. There's some freaky bugs in this game. Oh, right, we need a map. I prefer economies of tariffs. Scroll through Monopoly. Yep. Let's go back to Dirtmouth. Economies of tariffs. Oh yeah, the tariffs. What a great thing. I mean, Light, you've been wanting to talk about tariffs for years. This is your time. I mean, tariffs are truly back. Although the way they're being implemented, they're very much back and then gone and then back again and then gone again. So it's you know, I mean, the idea itself isn't good, but the implementation is extremely confusing.
Bapanada.
Yeah, bapanada to you. I think I need a couple more 100 geo for the lantern. 1800s. Yeah, let's save up. Let's save up. Hello, Zote. Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Bucko. No, yeah. Oh, half measures. Well, yeah. Whatever. You know, the world is a crazy place. Lots of things happening. All the time, as it turns out. Yeah, Light, you've got to get Rick reactions back up, but you're just reacting to each new round of tariff policy. I'm pretty sure that would really garner the views. Well, yeah. I mean, we're repurposing economic policy from like 150 essentially years ago, and expecting it to work today. I mean, Trump loves McKinley. He's obsessed with McKinley. That's one of his big tariff inspirations. Uh-oh. 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 Shit. Retreat. 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 God damn it. Guys, I panicked. I panicked halfway through. If I just do this smoothly, but quickly, it should be easy. Oh! Okay, go back. Go back. Go back. Oh my god. Oh my god. Very dangerous, folks. Uh-oh. I'm on the edge right now. I'm gonna get, no. I'm not gonna foretell doom, but, concerned I'll get my first death soon. And I've got so much cash on me. This is unfortunate. Aunt Andrew Jackson, yep. Yeah, no, you're exactly right, Kate. You're exactly right. He wants to bring everything back to the, as far as they see it, the good old days. I mean, they said make America great again. And I think the first time around, they were sort of thinking of like the 50s. Now they're thinking of like the 1880s. That's what they're going for. These mushrooms are so annoying, bro. Make America second world again. Well, I think it wasn't the second world was the Soviets, right? In terms of the three worlds, not that anyone looks at it like that anymore, nor that it was ever accurate, but like America and her allies were the first world, the Soviets and their allies were the second world, and then the third world were like the non-aligned countries, essentially. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeesh. Nice. Nice. Hey, oh, that's a big one. A new charm notch. Can finally put some more dang charms on again. I would say, in terms of gaming, I'm sort of, I'm thinking... I mean, we're playing Hollow Knight, which is both, well, one of the greatest Metroidvanias, but of the Metroidvania genre. Also very Soulsborne from Software inspired, and they just released Elden Ring Night Rain literally like yesterday. I have not played it yet, but it looks, I mean, I'm a little skeptical of the concept. I really liked Elden Ring, but, you know, the thing they've gone with is a little weird. The whole, like, hey boys, where are we dropping? But, it looks interesting, I'll say that much. Oh, okay. I need a map, bro. Sims 4. That'd be quite a change in mood, I guess you could say. I've never played any of the Sims games, actually. Maybe I'd like them. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it'd be definitely a tone change for the channel. Oh, it's cloth. Can roleplay as yourself. Yeah, that's right. But when you guys play RPGs where you make your own character, do you make characters that are like yourself? Or... because I know some people, every RPG they play, they make a character like their self. Or do you have like a mold of a character you go for every time? I kinda play myself with the decisions, but I usually don't make them look like me. Then it depends. Sometimes I'll go for something different. Oh, I feel like Cornifer's around here somewhere. I'm almost certain he is. Usually play female characters. Look inwards, light. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll usually play male characters the first run through, but I'll oftentimes, if I'm doing another one, I'll go for a female character. A wizard character who doesn't know any magic. You know, I've legit thought about, in a D&D campaign, playing a wizard character who's not very good at magic, because it'd be so funny, but that's a tough party member to have in your party. You're like, yeah, so I'm a wizard, but I don't actually know any magic. I'm kind of useless. Oh, there's Hornet. Cultivate a new audience by becoming a Sims 4 speedrunner. Yeah, bring in some more people. I mean, I think each of the, every time you do a new game, you bring in different audience, right? So, I mean, I did Skyrim was the first one I did when I came back, and it wasn't getting nearly as many views, but, the Disco Elysium audience was definitely a different audience that got brought in, right? And whatever I do next will be probably, some people will stay from the Disco Elysium viewers, but then there'll be a whole bunch of new people brought in. You get a different type of audience each time. High deception? I guess it depends what game system you're thinking. If it's D&D, then wizards do not have high deception. Maybe if you're a sorcerer, because you've got that high charisma. My baseline for like fantasy RPG stuff is always like Dungeons and Dragons. That has become my baseline. So I'm always like, let me reference back to D&D. Although really the baseline is like Lord of the Rings, because like where does D&D come from? Well, it's a bunch of nerds who are into tabletop gaming, mainly wargaming, Gary Gygax, and they said, what if we added Lord of the Rings into this? And then you got D&D. Huh. Well, that's one of the best things for players that we can do, Light, is, you know, we gotta completely ruin whatever the DM has set up. Any way to get out of whatever we're trying to be put into. Ah. Huh. That's pretty nefarious. I mean, that's strategy, though. That is strategy. You gotta give him that. Holy. But in a campaign I'm playing right now, D&D campaign, I'm actually playing as a Minotaur Wild Magic Barbarian. Yes. Okay, this is helpful. Oh. Okay. There we go. I know where I must go. I know what I must do, sire. I can't go this way. Okay, other way. Other way, folks. Oh, yeah. Okay, we must go right. We must. We simply must. Oh, our first mantis. Now, these guys are real fighters. I'll tell you that much. Talk about good music, by the way. I mean, we're talking about how Disco has great music. But Hollow Knight, that's a game with fantastic music as well. Really, each section has got its different music and sound effects and everything. Really immerses you wherever you are. The Minotaurs are trying to summon Baphomet. Oh my goodness. What an evil scheme. I'm glad the players stopped them then. Guys, what if we made Hollow Knight but in Revachol? Has anyone thought about this? And everyone's a bug. Now, wait a minute. Give it a chance to sit. Think about it. Well, they don't light unless you can roll a D100. And I guess get 100. Oop. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Alright, this bench will be necessary whenever we get to it. I would really like a stag station. So we're getting close to the amount we need for the lantern. Oh, Dashmaster. Not the most useful, but can be. Fun. Can be fun. Ow. Ouchie, ouchie. Okay. Yeah, I think about that sometimes. NHP. Because like I said, my basis is always like Dungeons and Dragons, so whenever I'm playing something new, I'm always thinking, okay, what corresponds to what? Visual calculus, intelligence plus perception, authority, wisdom plus strength, volition, wisdom plus constitution, yeah. Ori and the Blind Forest. I did actually play... If Ori and the Blind Forest... I know they have 2 of them. The first one, which I think is that one, I played a good deal of it on my Switch back a few years ago. But, I mean, it's been a couple of years. I did quite enjoy it. But I just, like, dropped it at one point. But yeah, I played a bit of that. Not the second one, though. But yeah, pretty good, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna get to Mantis Village. And of course, it's of a similar genre, if not the same genre. I mean, my favorite Metroidvanias, and by the way, I've always been more of a fan of the Vania side than the Metroid side. Easily, Hollow Knight and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And of course, Symphony of the Night is one of the really progenitors of the genre. And it holds up, in my opinion, as one of the best. Truly one of the best. Come on. Okay. I have, like, yes. I haven't seen Nocturne, but I've seen the first one, the first couple seasons, and I loved it. I love the Castlevania Netflix series. I mean, I love Castlevania. The Netflix series was, I really loved it. It was incredible. I thought it was really, they really did a good job of depicting Castlevania in the way I would want. So yeah, I thought they did a great job. Very compelling. And also, I mean, you know, I like Symphony of the Night. Alucard is awesome. So, I loved having all the, you know, it was a lot of Alucard, which was great. We all love Alucard, folks. We all love Alucard. So yeah, it was awesome. Well, I mean, that was Castlevania Netflix series was a Western show. In fact, I would argue, you know, I mean, not to be too much of a weeb, but when it comes to animation, Japan's really where it's at. But Castlevania was one of those Western shows, Western animations, that really lived up to the genre. It was really good. Yeah, I haven't seen Invincible. Oh my god. But, I mean, there's a lot of people talk about it. They seem to really have loved it. Maybe not so much right now. Normal human person. So I don't know how that's really panning out. And I also heard that... I mean, it seemed to me there were some mixed reviews about Castlevania Nocturne, like the follow-up series. But then I also heard from some people it was really great, so I don't know what the deal is with that one, really. I just know that the Castlevania, those first, like, 3 or 4 seasons, whatever it was, that was incredible. And also, I mean, I love Castlevania the game for its own reasons, but also I'm a big fan of, like, a lot of, like, vampire literature. Like, Dracula, Bram Stoker is one of my favorite books. I'm a big gothic fan. You know. saw Nosferatu a couple months ago. That movie was incredible. Loved it. The new one. The classic one's good too. So, I mean, it was all really up my alley, essentially. Okay, Kate. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've heard mixed things. Some people really didn't seem to like it. I mean, I haven't seen any of it, but the art looks very pretty. But I guess it had the first series to live up to, which was really, really excellent. Maybe a high bar to reach, perhaps. Okay, I've got enough for the lantern now. Different art style, though. Like I said, I haven't watched it, but I've seen images and stuff. And I was like, oh, the art style for Nocturne, it looks very different from the first show. It's very, like, pastel, sort of like Rococo, maybe? I don't know if that's right, but definitely looks different. I was like, ooh, interesting. Yeah, I feel you, normal human person. I feel you. I mean, JoJo's is incredible. And by the way, I haven't seen part 6. I know it's been out for a while, so don't spoil anything. But I've watched through part 5. JoJo's is incredible, one of my favorites. And after JoJo's, I was like, man, it's a lot more toned down. But there's other good stuff out there. Like I said, Castlevania was great. Attack on Titan's incredible, one of the best shows of all time. Yeah. But yeah, JoJo's really good. It's something special. It's different, right? I mean, I'm a big fan. You know, I feel that sometimes people denigrate the value of novelty, in my opinion. Like, people are like, oh, well, it's just novel, it'll wear off, which is true, but as far as I'm concerned, and this is just me personally, but I love new things, right? I like things that are experimental, different, novel, right? So when something's new to me, I really like that. So I don't, oh, you just like it because it's new. Yeah, that's exactly right. When something's different, that's really special. And JoJo's is so different. There's nothing like it. Disco Elysium is so different. There's nothing like it, right? I think I quite like that. Now, obviously, nothing is truly original. Your influences all come from somewhere, but to put those influences together to make something wholly unique, that's pretty special, in my opinion. Humans crave novelty, I sometimes think, when you talk about, like, what would you rather have? A show that's 10 out of 10, it's perfect, all the edges have been sanded, but it's just doing something that's already been done, but as good as can be? Or would you rather have something that's flawed, but new and unique and novel? I'd rather have the latter. I'd rather have something that's unique, novel, but flawed. That's my personal preference. And that's true, Light. I mean, that's true for anime, movies, shows, whatever. Games. Sometimes you're just looking, I think people derisively call it slop. You're just looking for like a 7 out of 10, okay? You don't want to get too invested, you're not looking to, whatever, you just want to watch something casual. And that's absolutely true, and that's what a lot of things are, which is totally fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And what might be a 7 for me, might be like a 8 or a 9 for you. So, that's totally fine. Oh, man. Come on. There we go. Nice. Alrighty. Hmm. God, we're so far away from the nearest stag station. There isn't one down here, is there? Ethan and the Philosopher's Stone movie premiere. What does that even mean? I was pretty young when that movie came out, you know? I remember watching it as a kid. I mean, of course, the book came out before I was even born. Don't really want to challenge them right now, because I've got literally 2,000 Geo. So I think I'm going to have to... Oh, man, we're so far away from the nearest stag station. Oh, I'm going to make my way back up. Because I gotta buy that lantern. Oh, ha! It's a 2-hour movie about me discussing Enlightenment philosophy. Yeah, I just think it might intersect with the already very famous book and movie, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. There may be a little bit of confusion there, but I see what you're getting at. Although, I mean, I think it's an HBO series. They're literally currently making a new Harry Potter series, which is crazy. And I'm like, I don't really think that's needed at this point. The first one's not that old. We really need another one? I mean, I don't mind a remake. Well, I kind of do, actually. I'm kind of lying. I do mind a remake. I'd rather you just do something new. But of course, name recognition brings in money. I understand that. They want to make money. Yeah, that's true. I mean, HBO is always looking, I mean, as with all these companies, they're always looking for their next big cash cow, especially since Game of Thrones. They have been desperately, desperately trying to reach that level of success for years, and it hasn't happened. And well, maybe I shouldn't say it's not going to happen, maybe it will, but they haven't managed it so far. And, I mean, they're hoping Harry Potter will do that, and of course, I mean, it's got incredible name recognition, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets really popular. I mean, well, I guess that depends how good it is. If people hate it, then, you know, it'll probably still be watched by a lot of people, but, it might not be good. HBO needs something to sate the HBO Rome crowd. That's what I think. We need something like that again. Ha! Yeah. Light, we're on the same page. They should just redo Rome, but do the whole thing this time. I mean, they never truly finished. There's a lot more to go. I do worry that if they were trying to remake it these days, they wouldn't do it justice, though. But I worry that with every remake. I'm like, sometimes it's best just to leave good things alone, right? If you've got something that's great already, unless it's in serious need of a remake, I don't know why you'd need to remake it, honestly. I mean, that'd be crazy, Kate. I mean, I guess it depends how long the series is running, starting with the rise of the Roman Republic, ending with the fall of Constantinople. That'd be the longest series of all time. I think we still have some pins to buy. Well, yeah, there's plenty of drama in Roman history. I mean, if you want some Game of Thrones-esque drama, Rome is a perfect place to look. I mean, frankly, there's lots of historical drama. I mean, there's lots of period dramas and historical stuff out there, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of untouched material. Yeah, I like that. I love that idea, Kate. You're starting off with like a serious drama, HBO Rome. Halfway through, HBO Byzantium, which is a tragicomedy. The tone, it's whiplash. It suddenly shifts. You're like, oh, this is weird. Alright, let's try and get into the city now. Gotta go down. The Ridley Scott treatment. That's the worst of all worlds. I mean, that Napoleon movie was such a shame. Because there's a lot of good... I mean, look, I appreciate that with anything, the story you're telling is going to be shaped by the director or the author. It's going to be subjective. In my opinion, there's no objective way to tell really any story, right? Especially Napoleon, there's so much to cover. There's a lot of angles you could have taken, but it just sucked. I mean, also the movie, they decided that they needed to cram every aspect of Napoleon's life into it for some reason. The box office, I have no idea. And so you had a, 2-hour movie or whatever it was, where they tried to get every important part of his life in. And so it was just a bunch of unattached scenes with no context, no character introductions, nothing. And you're like, what is happening here? This is ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, let's hope that Rome doesn't get that sort of treatment. That's how you could squeeze everything into one, one movie. But yeah, it wasn't any good. And, I don't know. I complain a lot about that movie, right? Like, Ridley Scott being like, I forget what he said, but he's basically like, nah, I'm not listening to historians. I don't care. And I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty generous on this, where I'm like, look, there's some people who are looking for exact historical accuracy in every moment. I'm not necessarily looking for that. I want it to be sort of generally accurate to the period. I want the vibe to be right. I'm fine with artistic liberties being taken, but the complete disregard for historical accuracy and just the weird tone of the movie, and it was just a bad movie. That's also it. If it was a good movie, I'd be willing to make a lot more allowances for inaccuracy, but it was inaccurate, which is bad, and it was not a good movie, which is also bad. So, there you go. Yeah, and yeah, Austerlitz. At least that's a more sort of well-known myth. And there's just so many cool characters who from Napoleon's life that they chose not to cover. Or they just were on the screen briefly. And you're like, oh, I think this is supposed to be that person. And then no introduction, no lines, nothing. You're like, dude, there's so much good character and drama and story here. And you chose to use basically none of it. Apart from Napoleon's relationship with his wife. That was the only thing in the movie. And I'm like, obviously that's a part of his life, but come on, there's so much that you did not include. Precisely because you had this, one, weird perspective, and two, because you wanted to include everything, which just wasn't going to happen. It's impossible. Or at least it was impossible to include everything and still make a good movie. So many perspectives, and they chose isometric. It's a good one. Yeah, and like I said, I know you, on what you said, like, they take on how Napoleon had no charisma. I understand that, once again, they take a particular angle or perspective. All work of art does. All works of art. But And so they played up one aspect of Napoleon's character, which was he could sometimes be a little stiff or a little awkward, but he was also known to be very charismatic, someone who people would follow, who they'd be inspired by. And watching Ridley Scott's Napoleon movie, you were left thinking, you know, why would people ever follow this guy? When it got to the big battles and the big moments, you were like, how could this guy do all this? Because they didn't show it in his character. They just didn't show it. Just didn't add up. Now, of course, if you know the history, you know why. But if you're just watching the movie, it would make no sense that anyone would ever follow this buffoon of a man who they presented in the movie. And like I said, I'm not, you know, I do not revere Napoleon, right? Like, he had buffoonish parts about his personality, absolutely. And he was goofy at times, and he was stiff and could be awkward. That is all true. And those are parts of his personality. I did not need him displayed like a great hero in this movie. But the character just made no sense at all. Yeah, that movie sucked. Yeah, I know. Like, and it was so funny to me, the Egypt thing, because in my opinion, you can make a real point about Napoleon leaving Egypt, which is a point that many people make about Napoleon, but that he was a man completely driven by ambition. And so if you were, and once again, this is not necessarily framing him in a positive light. I think you could very well make that about how he, driven by his ambition, basically left his men behind to pursue that ambition back in France. But they decided not to go with that. And I know that's only one angle, but, you know, it's a better angle than the one they chose. A man made and unmade by his own ambition, that's at least a more compelling angle in my opinion, and more true to the man himself. But that's not what they chose to go with. Hey, City of Tears, folks. City of Tears. Yup. Alright. Oh, I think we're gonna wrap up the stream shortly. It's about 3 hours. Which, I mean, isn't a super long time, but it's kind of long for me. Plus, it is a Sunday night. So I'm gonna make my way into the City of Tears, and then we'll wrap it up there. I made Napoleon with a turban on. Well, you know, Napoleon really wanted to convince the local residents that he was converting to Islam, even though he never did. Despite some misinformation today. He wanted to seem like he was at least an ally of Islam. Which is funny. Napoleon was an ally of no religion. I mean, I know he was Catholic, but he became more Catholic in his later years, but he was certainly not helping. I mean, he normalized his relationships with the Catholic Church, or relations, but I would not say he was an ally to any religion. Not Catholicism, not Islam. Yeah, I know, but, you know, as you know, Light, Napoleon truly saw himself as a world historical conqueror on the level of an Alexander. And to be fair, I mean, he really made it up there in the ranks through what he really did, but his vision of himself was even grander. So yeah, to him, he could of course be the founder of essentially a new religion, or at least a new religious text. And thus was the ambition of Napoleon, and in many ways, thus it sank him. Hey, Quirrell. Alrighty. We're on the bench here with Quirrell, chillin'. It's a good spot to be in. I think with that, we're going to close out. We'll chat a little bit. As we wrap up, we will close out of Hollow Knight, though. Let's... There we go. Yeah, biblical definition of hubris. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining, Kate. And absolutely, I mean, I had a great time with the Disco Elysium playthrough, like I said. And like I said in the video, last video, I was really glad to see everybody's comments. You left that long comment on episode 32 or whatever. Really great one. So yeah, I always love people sharing their thoughts, you know. I mean, obviously, clearly I want to share my thoughts. That's why I'm the one on the camera. But equally as much, I like hearing from other people, right? That's why I always love going through the comments section. And Disco Elysium was a great opportunity to do that. A lot of people who really appreciated the game had a lot of opinions to share, which was really great. So yeah, absolutely. I had a great time with the Disco Elysium playthrough. Yeah, I probably won't watch other Let's Plays, at least until I've played more of the game myself, because I wanna go through and choose some of the options I didn't do. But maybe at some point I'll watch some other playthroughs. maybe I'll cringe at certain points. I mean, I had some comments that were like, I mean, I'm not trying to like hype myself up or anything, but some comments who were like, yeah, other playthroughs I didn't enjoy so much, but I liked yours. Gives me the sense that maybe some other playthroughs did things a little bit differently than I did. But, you know, that's fine. Anyway. With that, we're gonna wrap up, everybody. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Maybe I'll consider streaming some Disco. I think, to be upfront, I probably won't, but yeah, it's not impossible. Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Everybody who chatted, anybody who's watching this VOD afterwards. Thank you for watching. Remember to read some Diderot before you sleep. Good advice from Light there. With that, hope everyone's having a good one. Good night to everybody. I know it's really late night for some of you. It's not so late night for me. So good night, and I will see you all again next time. Hope to do some more streams sometime in the future, maybe with a little more forewarning than this one. Anyway, with that, goodbye, everybody.